Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the life of a preacher's kid. It is another Tuesday that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. I'm always particularly excited when it is another episode, it is another edition of the show, The Life of a Preacher's Kid. My name is Rudy, and thank you all for joining us. I'm super excited, super this month March. A happy birthday to all the people born in the month of March. My the month of March. If you're out there and you're if you're born in the month of March, happy birthday to you. I'm particularly excited about this short. We started last week. You must have seen in the description. This is Life of a Preacher's Kid. This is Lead What Faith Part 2. What Lead Faith Part 2. I want you to come in, quickly come in, quickly come in, quickly come in. And we have to share this with you guys. Let's share. Let's share. Wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is, whether it's morning, whether it's afternoon, whether it's evening, whether it's night. This is the life of the DJ talk show that we wait a minute. I need to respect anyone that this is the first time for people like this. I want to greet you especially, and I would like to say that join the movement, join our community, join our train on our Blink TV by subscribing. That if you're on YouTube or liking and following our page on Facebook, on Instagram, you follow us as well. And you will be part of this great community. And remember to always click on the notification bell. Hello to all of you. Please let's share this live. Let's share it as much as possible. We are praying for this listening up to it. I like saying that. We'll listen to this soundbite, and when we come back, that's time for us to share the show anyway. When we come back, we meet our guest, Pastor Lemuel, and continue talking. What we did.
L'élu de mon cœur, we go to be little. Papa, mama, sister, let's go for the celebration. Elle me rend fou d'amour, je suis l'homme le plus heureux du monde. Okay. Papa God, you today bless me all. Today is the brand.
You're welcome back to the show. Before we dive into the show today, I want to welcome everybody. If you're watching us from any part of Africa, out of Cameroon, you're very welcome to this show, and God bless you for being here. I want to quickly talk about this exciting program that is going to run from the 2nd to the 3rd of April, this 2022. You know, prayer changes things. Prayer moves mountains. This is 30 hours of prayer being organized by the Dr. Bwakbo Paul. He is part and parcel of this family. He's an amazing man of God. We're going to be praying for 30 hours. You need to join. You need to, if you're in Ghana, you're in Cameroon, anywhere you are in this country, you can even fly from out of this country just to be for this program. We need to pray for, for the kingdom to invade this country, to invade the world. Basically, we're going through trying times, and we need the kingdom of God to invade. Like, let His kingdom be manifest. And we have special ministers like Minister Osvalin, Minister Montana, we have other great pastors who are going to be joining in for this prayer. We do not have to miss that. Once more, welcome to the live show here. I feel like let's not go on to the share. We might be sharing because what we're going to be talking about today. I remember when when we had the internet disruption last time, so many people in, so many people were like, oh, what was right? What happened? What happened? But what was peculiar to me was the little we spoke about was mind blowing. The little we spoke about was mind blowing. So I'm going to bring on Reverend, I'm going to bring on Reverend Lamuel. I'm going to talk about. Well, welcome, Pastor.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome again. Like you're a familiar face to us right now.
Thank you, Sister Rudy. Thank you.
To talk about a multifaceted pastor, I will not hesitate to mention you anywhere in the world. You're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur, you run diverse businesses, and you have a church, a mission, a vision that you started with the help of God. We saw all of that last week, but I will quickly like us to do a recap of the 2 points we started with last week before we go on with the rest of the show today. So last week, you mentioned 2 points. The first was loving your child to successfully raise a godly PK. As a parent, you have to love your child. Am I correct?
Yes.
And the next you said is creating a safe environment, creating a safe space for your child, and that was where you left off. So maybe we take from creating a safe space and we continue from there.
All right. Thank you very much. I began talking about creating a safe environment for your kids, because it's very important for their mindset, their mind build up. And I was giving an example how, because of interaction, my own son was beginning to pick some bad habits, and I had to disconnect him from those other kids because they were much older than him, and what they were teaching him was wrong. So I was emphasizing on the need of creating a safe environment for your kids, that is who they interact with at this early stage. I know when they become teenagers, it'll be difficult to really control who are their friends, but you can lay a good foundation for them when they are still in their early ages by shaping their friends, shaping where they go to, guiding where they go to. And now they will grow up with that. They can grow up with a mindset which at the later age in their life, it will be difficult for them to depart from it. So that's why it's very important that you create, like I said, a safe environment. Even the school, the choice of school they should go, it should be one that their morals will be built up correctly. It's very important, the choice of school, because when they go there, they say that's an environment, and who they interact with there also determines the things they learn. The things they learn. So choose a good school for your kids. A school where you know that they'll pick up good morals, even from among the other kids that are there. Yeah, that is for kids that are not yet teenagers. I know when it comes to teenagers, it'll be difficult for you to determine who they interact, because at that point they can learn to hide some things. But I believe that if you are friend, you have proven enough to them that you love them, you care about them. Now, and then you create an intimate relationship with them. That's the point. The next point we get to come up with, we have to see into creating a relationship with them in such a way that they see you not just as their father or their mother, but they see you also as their friend, which they can share their secrets with you. So in that case, they can open up to you about any decision they want to make, and you can give them a better advice. So creating that safe environment at the early age of these children is very important, because you prevent some bad habits from entering their minds, or from prevent them from copying some bad habits from the social environment.
Okay.
Yes, so that's what I was.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah, I heard somebody said last week. Somebody said that one is a strong point. So I didn't understand whether the person was trying to say it was a difficult thing to understand or it's a difficult thing to implement. But I believe at a very tender age, your children respond to instructions, to principles that you have set aside for them. And so within those early stages of their lives. It's not a matter of their choice, but it's a matter of the principles and the standards that you have kept for them, which they should follow. Now they get to a certain level where their choices may begin to matter, but by then, now what will help you at that point where their choices will matter is how intimate you are with them, because if you relate with them correctly, they will be comfortable and free to open up to you whatever thing they think, and there you can also help to shape their decisions or their choices.
All right. After the last show, because we ended on creating a safe space and all of that, a couple of questions came in. But I feel like before we go into the questions, because there are things you may bring to us today that may answer some of these questions. So
All right,
I feel like before we get into these questions, let's go ahead to see the other things that we can do to raise or to have godly PKs.
Okay, now I had just 2 points left, which I couldn't share them last time because of the network failure. So the third point, which I'll be sharing today, is you spending time with your children. Why? Because when you spend time with your kids, it creates a kind of intimacy between you and the kids. Yes. And once this intimacy is established between you and the kids, it becomes very easy for the kids to open up to you about anything that is happening in their lives, or any decision they want to take, or any choice they want to make. And with that, you can easily guide them at their teenage age. Why? Because I from experience, I realized that when you take your kids like your friend, I mean, you play with them. Yes, you discuss with them, you give them some sense of liberty, freedom of speech. Now, it will help them to tell you their mind easily. And when they get to their teenage age, now they see you as a father, as their father that they love, and they see you also, they relate with you also as a friend, which means that they begin to share even their deep secrets with you. At that point, it's easy for you to to guide them in their choices, because at that time you may not be able to impose on them, but you can only guide them on their choices for them to make the best choices, whatever thing that is lying in front of them. So what will guarantee that openness on their part is how intimate they are with you. And that intimacy is not just at their teenage level that you establish. You start establishing that at their early ages. Yes, you start establishing that at their early ages. So they grow you to see you as a father or as a mother. At the same time, they see you as their best friend.
Let's talk a little about intimacy, because this is something which is scarce. It's a scarce commodity. Sorry, I just have to say that. That is true.
Yeah, I understand.
It's a very scarce commodity in pastor's home. And that takes me to one of these questions. I think oh God, this name is really, I think it's Difowas Sandiala. That's it. Sorry if I got your name wrong, but I think it's Difowas Sandiala. There were so many asterisks on the name, so I could not recognize it was a French or an English name. Difowas Sandiala. She asked the question that, how do I open up to my parents who will always quote the Bible no matter what you do or say? Sometimes I just need a hug and I just want them to understand that they always have a Bible to prove to me that I am wrong. How do I then open up?
That's a very serious question.
That was like a fourth question, but since you spoke about intimacy, I just decided to bring that up.
Yes, I see. If a kid is a pastor's kid is or a preacher's kid is raising such a question, no, understand it's a very serious issue. It's a very serious issue. You see, you now see the problem is the foundation, because she's already giving the reason why she cannot open up, because if she wants to open up, they will begin by quoting scriptures and to prove her that, to make her feel that she's wrong. Now, man is not just a spiritual being, man is also a social being. Okay. Man is also a social being. And as a as a pastor, in as much as you desire the spiritual growth of your children, don't neglect the social aspect.
Mm.
Don't neglect the social aspect. Family is not more, it's not just of a spiritual something, it's even more of a social something. Let's not forget that we are in the flesh and we relate also in the flesh, and understanding some social values and social principles will enhance the harmony in the family. So let me say, for example, like what the child just asked, was a child, was a lady or a girl, she just asked. From her question, you realize that might be talking about social stuff may be a taboo in the home.
Mm-hmm.
It may be a kind of a taboo, and it's very common to see that in pastors' home. I believe that your child is not only developing spiritually, your child is also developing physically. He or she is developing socially, psychologically. All these aspects of development of a human being. As a pastor, you need to understand them and put them into consideration, because if you don't understand this, you may be struggling for your children to grow spiritually, but yet they are failing in another area in their life. And that's why you see, at the end of the day, the pastor's children may become useless, because the pastors are emphasizing just on the spiritual part, which is good, but neglecting the social part, which is very important, neglecting the psychological part or the emotional part of it, which is very, very, very important. Yes. Whether you are born again or not, we all have emotions. God has emotions. And our emotions are not devilish. Our emotions are placed there by God. If God didn't have emotions, the Bible wouldn't say God laughed. He that sitteth in heaven shall laugh. If God laughed, laughter is emotion. You understand? And our emotions are not evil. Our emotions are not evil. So you need to understand that these children, they have emotions also. And you need to pay attention to their social aspect. Like I told you, I've lived with children that are not mine. Actually, the most difficult ones at times to handle are the girl children. Yeah, so but actually I brought them close as my friends. I will talk with them and then I will ask them questions. At times I will tell, if you're in a relationship, tell me if you want to get into a relationship, let me know. Let me give you better advice. I'm not going to stop you, but I will give you my advice and you make a choice. And
that's right.
Many of them, they open up to me. At times, someone to ask me, is it right for me to get into a relationship now? I will tell them the advantages and the disadvantages. And if I think that the disadvantages are more, I present it to them, then they will see it by themselves. Then the power to decide will be in their hands. And they will take a decision knowing fully well what are the consequences of their decision. So we don't have to spiritualize everything. This is what I have to say. We don't have to spiritualize everything. Yes, we don't have to spiritualize everything. When it comes with social matters, we address them socially. No matter how spiritual we are. For example, if you are getting hungry now, you'll not be praying for your stomach to be full. You have to eat food.
Yeah, that's right. You have to eat food.
Yes, you have to eat food. If you are going through emotional breakdown, you need sweet words to be encouraged, not Bible quotations.
That's right.
But if you are way down spiritually, you need spiritual encouragement. So we need to give the right medication to the right problem. Let's not give a wrong prescription to a problem.
That's right.
It's not every question that is being answered with biblical quotations. Yes. It's not every question that is being answered with biblical quotation. There are some questions that you need actually a pure social approach to handle it. Actually, it matters that deals with emotions.
But so the truth is, growing up as a pastor's child and handling this assignment from God to reach out to other pastors' children, this comes up a lot. So many pastors' children complain of not being able to relate with their parents because there is a certain everything. And I feel like it's this is because based on the mindset. I'm talking about, let me, maybe from Cameroon, other people, other elsewhere in the world can relate, but here in Cameroon, I'll say based on the way the gospel was passed down
Yeah.
to some of our parents, they don't know they don't know how to balance ministry and pastorship. Like they don't know how to they don't know how to balance ministry and parenthood. That's what I mean.
Yes, that's
They don't
true.
know how to balance ministry and parenthood. Sometimes your child is just longing to be heard, not
Yeah.
necessarily because they are saying the right thing. Some most times, especially when they are teenagers, they often say the wrong thing or do the wrong things just to get the attention of their
Of the
pastor.
parent.
So most times to respond to this question, I would say that parents, pastors, whoever you are watching, sometimes your children just want to be heard. They don't necessarily want you to say something. They've
Yeah.
been hearing and they know a lot of the advice you've been giving them. And you have to trust that this advice would definitely play out for the good at some point. But in I talk as a PT. Sometimes in our small world and in our minds, we get caught up, we get confused. It's not like we do not know that this is not the way of God, but sometimes it becomes so enticing and so overwhelming. We know that this is the wrong way. We know that we are not supposed to be here, but sometimes it's just so overwhelming that we just want to talk about it, not necessarily that we want to do this thing. So when we talk about it, sometimes what about a hug? What about your okay? What about taking us out? There's some it's
Yeah.
not necessarily all about the scripture. I'm just saying.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yes.
just saying, Pastor. I'm just saying. I know that maybe some of your colleagues may not accept this, may not agree to this, but I feel like it's my job to say so.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Yeah.
not
You're
okay.
right.
Sometimes it's not just, you know, hushing the child down. I remember one time, one of my girls, my baby girl that looks up to me a lot, she came to me and she was talking about, oh, she loves, somebody who is not at that age, somebody's time. She was just talking about how much she's in love with this guy, how much she would love to see herself that guy. And at the end of it, I just gave her a hug and I told her, I love you. I don't know why you need I don't know why you need love from another person to be able to validate that you're beautiful, you're like other girls. But I just feel like you're not ordinary, and I love you the way you are. That was all what I said, and she broke down. Imagine if I started telling her that, do you know that the Bible says, and all of that. She knows all of that. Basically, she grew up in all of that. She knows
Yeah.
all of that. Sometimes just a hawk would do. I just had to add my little to that question.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The truth is that what you said is very important. Telling your kids you love them, spending time with them, like I was talking, and then playing with them. I mean, we talk about spending time, spend quality time with your kids. There are moments you have to just spend time. Like I sit with my kids. At times we are playing. At times we are dancing. At times I take them out. They love going to merry-go-round, so I take them there. They go, they spend hours there, eat what they like to eat, drink what
That's
they
right.
want to
That's
do that.
right. So basically,
Yes. Okay. So I'll keep it. Let me just continue talking while we are waiting for our host come back. So it's very important to spend time with your kids. Spend time with your kids. I mean quality time, because children at their early age, what they really how they learn a lot through playing. So through playing, they can learn a lot. And so you as a parent, it's very important for you to spend time playing with your kids, and make sure you adopt those plays or those games that at the end of the day the children will be able to learn something good, not something bad. Yes, something good. For example, I at times I play music for them for them to dance with. I dance with my kids. I do that, and I play music that actually have a good message. Which at the end of it, they will not only dance, but they will learn. I mean, the lyrics of the song will be in their heads, and actually I make sure that the songs are songs that are healthy for their brain at that age. So through the dancing, through the interaction, actually they are going to learn some things. They're going to learn some things. And then also taking them to recreational sites, like maybe like I take them at times to children's playground. When they get there, they have some good time, and they also learn while playing there, because they learn at times they learn some safety tips, safety measures, which actually helps them. And then at times they learn some maybe eating habits and other things, which actually helps them. And the truth is that with those time that you spend with them, taking them to those places or playing with them, it builds intimacy between you and those kids. Now, they don't only see you as their parent, they don't only see you as their hero, they see you as their friend. They see you as their friend, someone that they can open up to anytime. And you see, when it continues like that, at their later age or at their teenage age, now since they're already used to feeling free with you, talking with you, it'll be difficult for them to hide anything from you. It'll be difficult for them to hide anything from you. And at that point, it's easy for you to shape their lives to give them the opportunity to make the best choices about their life or about their future. I will say, I've like I explained before, I have been opportune by the grace of God to raise people's children. They stayed with me, and some from a very young age they grew up. Not every one of them succeeded, but some succeeded, some failed, and I will tell you why some failed. And those who succeeded, actually, I realized that it was the way I related with them. And then some of them who succeeded, which actually I actually put the blame back to some of their parents, because while I was trying to shape the lives of these children to grow up in a way which I believe will become successful, back then their parents were influencing them negatively. For example, one of the principles I used to do is that I control the amount of money that should be available in their hands. I don't restrict them from having money, but I control the amount of money. They should only have what they need. Because when they begin to have excess, they tend to abuse it. And one of the children that failed was because while I was struggling to control the amount of money that should be in her hands at a particular time, the parents will call her behind and then give her more money, and because of that, she'll have extra money to do whatever thing she likes to do, go wherever she wants to go, because she had the money. And it was difficult really controlling the child. And at the end of the day, well, so many bad things, terrible things happen to the child. And yes. So actually when it comes with your children, like I was talking about spending time with them, it's very important. It will build the intimacy between you and them, and they'll be able to open up to you. And the last point which I wanted to share was about discipline. Yes, as a parent, you must be able to discipline your children. And please, let's not mistake discipline from punishment. And when we talk about disciplining children, it's just like training them to respect rules, to respect standards, to respect boundaries. Yes,
Exactly.
we believe that man is a free being, but even though man is a free being, the world has been divided into boundaries. The world has been divided into boundaries, and yes, children. Your kids should learn how to respect standards, to respect rules, to respect boundaries that have been set. and it takes discipline to put that in them. They should know they should know their limits. Let me put it this way: they should know their limits, and it's not like you are going to force that on them, but you have to train them how to respect these standards that are already in place. It's not like you're the one putting though you may put your own standards, but there's a general standard that the world has put in place, which your children will grow to face it, and they should. I mean, you need to discipline them how to respect principles. Yes, to respect standards. For example, like I noticed something with my kids. Most often, if we have to go and visit somebody, you see, they'll sit at at the kitchen or start entering the room. Yes, because they know that this house is not their house. So they can only enter the next room or leave that place and enter somewhere else by permission.
That's right.
Yes. So those are some things that you actually, I mean, I'm using that as an example because when we talk about disciplining them, not like you have to be beating them. Well, at times you may be forced to use the rod because in the Bible says don't spare the rod and spoil the child. But now when it comes with, using the rod on the child, some will interpret the rod as the word. The word of God, of course, is a rod. Yes. But if you have to use the rod as in real sense, a whip, now you should not beat your children with anger. This is what I would tell parents: never beat a child out of anger. Because when you beat a child out of anger, the child will interpret that as wickedness, not as correction. Yes, not as correction. But if you have to beat a child, you do that in love, which will actually moderate the way you actually discipline the child using that measure. The child, at the end of the day, the child will actually see where he or she went wrong. Yes, and understand why you did that and what you expect from him or her. And so now the child will take that as a correction. Yes, he will take that as a correction. And I want to advise parents that even if you have to get to the level of maybe beating a child because you want to correct the child, never use your hand. Never use your hand on the child. Why should you never use your hand on your child? Because it's better you get a whip. You get a whip, you keep it, which comes out once in a while. Now, when it comes out, you whip a child, the child knows why you use that particular whip on him or her. All right, and the child will see the whip different from you. But when you use your hand on the child sees you as the whip. That's why the next time you may be coming, the child is scared of you. But if you use a whip on the child, the child, when you keep the whip aside, right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello, I can hear you, Pastor. Oh, I think we have a network disruption. Pastor was talking about discipline, and of course, that is a very, very, very difficult and a very debatable topic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So when you use a whip on the child, now when you come without the whip, the child sees you differently. And he does not see you approaching as coming to beat him because there's no whip in your hand. But when you use your hand to beat a child, every time you appear in front of that child, the child sees your hand, and you automatically bring fear into that child. So now you become like a terror to that child, and it will destroy the intimacy between you and the child. Hello, can you hear me?
We're sorry for that interruption. We lost Pastor. The network is trying to mess us up again today, but I believe that we're going to wrap up the show, and we're going to do all and finish with all we have concerning this topic. If you just joined us, I was with Pastor Lemuel, and we're talking about measures to raise a godly child. Hello, Pastor. Can you hear me? Pastor, can you hear me? Pastor, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. We're quite sorry for that network turbulence. God will see us through. I was
Amen.
giving a recap of the. I was giving a recap. I know Cameroonians will definitely understand what I'm talking about. I'm giving a
Yeah.
recap. I'm giving a recap of measures to raise a godly child. We've spoken about um, loving your child, creating a safe environment for the child, and sharing quality time, intimacy, and of course, discipline, setting boundaries. And you were
Yes.
talking about using the whip. And I was saying that that's quite a debatable approach to punishment or to discipline, using the whip. And African parents would agree to using the whip. Other parents, maybe parents in other parts of this world, would not agree to using the whip. So what is a mid line? What is a mid ground?
Okay, now I would say that that's why I said that issue of using a whip is an option, and that is when it gets to difficult children. Which actually, if children get to the stage of being so difficult that you have to use whip on them, you realize that might be the first three principles that we gave. They are failing. That might be in the aspect of loving the kids and creating a safe environment for them, and also spending that time. Because the truth is that if you actually do the first three, coming to the last point, which is disciplining the children, you realize that you may not necessarily use a whip on them.
Mhm.
You may not necessarily use a whip. I mean, I'm talking to the African parents, because you realize that, well, when you tell them that this thing is wrong, don't do this again, and use a strong language. I mean, you use an authoritative language. They know that actually, if daddy is against this thing, then this thing is not right. Without
Mhm.
you actually using, yes, because now they have been with you. They know that you are not a difficult person. Yes, because as a parent, you should have, let me say, you should have something, let's say, two sides with your kids. In the sense, this is my own principle, my own approach. You have two sides.
Mhm.
I mean, the playful side and the serious side. Now, so I play with them. Yes, when it's time for us to play, they know that we are playing. But if it's something very important that I expect them to do, like doing their homework, yes, I don't play with that. Actually, I tell them, and I'm very serious about it, and they know I'm
You're definitely serious about that.
serious.
Mhm. All
Yes,
right.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's take a couple of questions and then we wrap up for today.
Okay.
This one comes from Eleno. Eleno says, I am a pastor's child and I got married to a pastor. We have been transferred to a very remote area. And I realized that as we move from place to place, my children change as per the environment. What can I do? Because I seem to have done all. I don't want to talk about my teenage son, whom right now I cannot even, I sometimes think, or whom right now I sometimes think I did not raise him up well because he is the total opposite of what I thought I took good time to do in his life.
Okay. Now you see, that's why the second point I said, I use the statement that create a safe environment. Now, having a safe environment, not something you go and find it somewhere. You intentionally create one. That's
Mm-hmm,
what I was thinking. You intentionally create one.
mm-hmm,
For let me give a small. I'll use some small things, common things, to just bring it to our understanding. For example, when we had no TV in the house, I
mm-hmm.
discovered that my son was moving a lot because he's looking for something just he was looking for fun. So I was forced to quickly buy a TV set, because it will keep him in the house. Then secondly, I brought other things like games and other things that they actually will make the home very, very interesting for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you, the parent, don't make your house, your home to be interesting for your children, they'll be looking for something interesting outside there. Now, if you make
Wow.
the home very interesting for them, they'll stay home and they'll be the ones to invite their friends to the house. And
And you
if
get
they
to know
invite us,
everybody, you get to know their circle.
yes. So when they bring their friends, the one that you see that actually are not right, you can also help to shape those children, or you can look for a means to disconnect them. So creating a safe environment, because like you said, they move in one place to another. Now, when you go and try to fit yourself in the environment, that's where the problem comes in. No, every environment you find yourself, create a safe environment for yourself and your children.
That's
Create
right.
a safe environment. Yes.
And then she speaks about, or she writes about her teenage son, who is an exact opposite of how, a lot that she's done to raise him right. I feel like so many parents can relate to this. Like you feel as a parent that you've done your best. Maybe you've put in place
Yes.
all of these measures Pastor just mentioned, but the child still is not it.
It's a little bit, I begin to diagnose, I can diagnose a little problem there, because if the son is 14, I know boys, they relate more to their mothers. Yes, generally boys relate more to their mothers, and mothers can have that control easily on their boy children, their male children. So if she's finding it difficult, I think let her go back and try to check on her, maybe say intimacy between her and her son. And I think at this level now, the boy is already 14 years, he's a teenager, and there are some things he's already been exposed to. I think what that boy needs to experience from the mother right now is extreme love. She will have to go to the extent of sacrificing now for that child. Doing more than what she could do before for the child, just to prove to the child that she loves the child so much. And because the child at this age is already sensitive to love.
That's right.
Yes, he's already sensitive to love. So if the mother can demonstrate so much that she loves this child, it will be easy for her to win back the child.
That's true.
Yes, we are not saying that she should go and pamper the wrongs of the child. There are a lot of things that she can do to make the child understand that that she loves the child so much. Yes, by taking good care of the child, maybe the way she will present the child's food, it can be extra exaggerated, just because you want to drive into the mind of the child that you care about him, you love him so much, and you respect him. And at that point, he will begin to weigh the advantages back at home and the advantages outside there. And if the advantages back at home weighs more than outside there, he will turn and look back inside the home.
Exactly. And dear mother, if you feel like you did all what you're supposed to do as a parent, please take a cup of water and drink and calm down and give yourself a pat on the back. Because sometimes just that pressure that you put on yourself may make you do the wrong thing. May make you do the wrong thing. And again, as a parent, sometimes in your closet, ask the Holy Spirit, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Two children are not the same. They may come from the same womb, but they are not the same. They are not the same. So because it worked for A doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for the elder or the younger brother. What you do to a middle child sometimes is totally different from how you treat your first child and your last child. So just go back, added to all of what Pastor has said. Ask the Holy Spirit, where am I going wrong? Let him direct you on how to tackle that problem and how to get to your child. Because I see a mother who is longing for intimacy with her child, but she cannot get that intimacy. She used to have that, and she cannot get that anymore. So maybe you talk to your child and ask the Holy Spirit for help. I feel the last question we are going to take is, how do I make my parents understand that I do not want to be part of their ministry? That is what makes me rebellious. Pastor, can you hear me? Oh, I feel we lost Pastor again. But that's a very sensitive question. The question is very sensitive. Have an open conversation with your parents. That I'll say. Have an open conversation with your parents. Sit your parents down and talk to them. How you feel, why you feel the way you feel. Sometimes it may be because as pastor's children, hello, Pastor, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, the last question is, the person is asking, how do I make my parents understand I do not want to be part of their ministry? That is why I rebel a lot. Yes, like I was saying, you do not have to rebel. You just have to talk to them. It's okay for you to take a break if you need a break, but tell them maybe you're going through, because I know as pastors' children, a lot is required from us, especially when our fathers have ministries and they are not people capable of handling certain aspects or certain areas in church. And before you know it, you see yourself, you're the choir leader, you're leading in you're the youth leader, you're the main song leader, and all of that. Maybe because there's nobody to actually do that, and your father needs help. But if you're overwhelmed, why don't you sit your parents down and talk with them about it than rebelling? Pastor, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. So the question, she was saying that she rebels because she does not want to be part of her parents' ministry. So what does she do?
First thing I will tell her that rebellion is not a good thing. Even the Bible describes rebellion as the sin of witchcraft, and I will not advise her to rebel. Yes, she may have a very strong point, a strong reason why not she doesn't want to be in the father's ministry, which is correct. Yes, because I believe that people should also go where their spirits lead them. But being as being a child, to me, when you are still dependent on your parents, yes, you are still dependent on your parents. You should not only depend on their financial support, you should also depend on their instructions too. That's how I see it. Yes, which those instructions have to come in love. But I think that if at the point where she's not yet independent, then I think it is wise enough for her to be under the parents' instructions till when she becomes independent. When she gets independent, then she can be what she likes to be. So I will not advise her to rebel. Yes. Rebellion is not a good thing. Yes, but if she wants to talk to her parents about maybe not comfortable being there, I mean, she should be bold enough to meet her parents and open up and tell them, and maybe present a strong reason why. And I believe that if the parents are considerate and yeah, they're considerate, they will listen to her. And if her points are good, or they are correct, or let's say they are good for her spiritual development, for her personal development, then they should encourage her. Yes, but if after presenting and maybe the parents, they see some dangers ahead of her decision, I think they should kindly advise her, which she should be humble enough to also to take their advice and their suggestions or their instructions too.
Oh, thank you so much, Pastor, for being here. Thank you so much for sharing the lot with this community, and we hope to see you again and to have your face again on this show. And We hope that those of us, or all of us listening to you, have been mightily, mightily blessed. I want to give a big shout out to all of us who were part of the show today. God bless you for making the show very, for gracing this show. We are here just because of you. Remember, we broke down this subject into 4 basic points. If you haven't taken anything, take this along. Love your child. Let your child feel the love, not just by word of mouth, but let your child be able to feel real love from you. Also, create a safe space for your children. Create a safe space. This may require a lot from you as a parent, but that's the sacrifice you have to make for your children, for your to be children. Next, you have to spend quality time. You have to spend intimate time with your kids. Make them your friends. And lastly, set the boundaries. That is discipline. Discipline your children. Do not spoil them. The fact that you're their friend doesn't mean that you do not have to discipline them. And again, discipline them with love, and they will know the difference between discipline and punishment. Thank you so much, Pastor. It's an honor. So before we leave you today, the Christian movie industry has something very important coming up from Monday running through the entire week. They have a seminar on dramas, on Christian drama and cinematography. And I hope that if you're here and you are a Christian actor, you are a spoken word artist, basically anything about art, you should join them. You should rush and call them. Be in the city of Bamenda. We're going to bring the head gospel of the gospel movie industry in Bamenda, and he's going to talk to us about that training. It's going to be taking place at Tamulu, at St. Bridget's College, Tamulu, and you can reach out to them and call them and register for this event. Thank you so much. And if you want more details on that, the flyer is going to be on Ablaze TV so that you can call them and talk to them about the upcoming training. You're going to receive a certificate at the end of the day. The truth is, we need to get trained because the world is not sleeping when it comes to their art. So do gospel actors, so do drama ministers. You need to get trained in your art which you use to serve God. Thank you very much for being on the show today. I am indeed grateful that you could come, and that is on that note that we are going to wrap up the show. Thank you, and stay close to our Blaze TV. God bless.
And God bless you, everyone.
in what heights of love. One day